Welcome to the Fantasy Football Forge. My name is Steven. Welcome to week 17. The championship week of the fantasy football season is here for most people. So on that note, I will plan on having at least some of my content next week for those who do play in week 18. I'm recording this much later in the day than I had hoped. Unfortunately, the playerprofiler.com was a little slow in getting everything updated today so I could get my projections done to help me with these rankings. But here we are. We have the rankings ready. And just to give you a heads up on how I do this, these are preliminary. Changes do happen during the week, whether it be due to injury, change in thoughts, etc. But I start out with the ECR, the Expert Consensus ranking from Fantasy Pros website. I shuffle them around from there, and then I have my projections that I come in with, and I move players around after initially I just used this simple difficulty matchup rating to help make up my mind with the ECR rankings, and that's how it goes. Who I'm going to talk about? Well, I'm going to talk about the players who have the biggest difference with compared to the ECR, which you can see over here highlighted in the green. Positive numbers means that I'm above the ECR, negative, red, below the ECR. However, red is good over here in the difficulty matchup, and blue is bad. White is kind of a neutral matchup. And then over here on the far left, you can see my tiers. So let's start off with my first tier for the tight ends. Starting off with tight end number 1, of course, Travis Kelce, followed by George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, Dallas Goedert, Evan Ingram, Jolton Schultz, Mark Ingram, and to wrap that up at tight end number 8, Pat Freiermuth. The only player who I have a large enough difference to have caught my eyes here is Mark Andrews, who I have ranked 7th. The ECR on him is 4th, so I'm 3 spots behind the ECR currently going up against Pittsburgh. Big thing with him is, you're probably playing him if you have Mark Andrews, but there is a chance you might also have like Evan Ingram. That's probably the only likely opportunity there of somebody that you may have. Hopefully you could, because I talked about him pretty much all season long. So hopefully you're in that kind of situation. But if Lamar Jackson is playing this week, then Mark Andrews would probably move up ahead of Evan Ingram, definitely into the top 5 here, maybe into the top 3. Maybe there's still a little bit of a lack of confidence, but obviously his prospects would look much better if we could get Lamar Jackson back. And they're not dead in the water with Tyler Huntley, even though it has not been pretty for some time now for Mark Andrews. As last year we saw, they can connect for some pretty big games. So let's move on to the second tier of tight ends here. Starting off with David Njoku at tight end number 9, followed by Tyler Higbee, Cole Kmet at 11, Dawson Knox, Taysom Hill, Greg Dulcich, Tyler Conklin, and then to wrap that up at tight end number 16, I have Darren Waller. We'll get to that in a moment, but let's just start off with Cole Kmet, who I have at tight end at number 11. ECR on him is 16, so that makes me 5 spots higher than the ECR. Maybe I'm a little bit foolish on Cole Kmet. It's a great matchup going up against Detroit, though, so I do really like that. Worst case scenario, he should be top 15 this week, a little bit higher than the ECR then, but I still have some faith in that. And he projected quite well still because of some of those bigger weeks that he's had, so that potential is there. Might be able to come through again, especially good chance for a touchdown, I would say, this week against Detroit. So I like Cole Kmet this week. Then let's move on to Taysom Hill, who I have 4 spots behind the ECR. I have him ranked at 13th. The ECR on him is 9th, going up against Philadelphia. Really not a good tight end matchup, but that really doesn't matter for Taysom Hill. He's not a traditional tight end. That's not how he gets his fantasy points. The only question is do we see more of Taysom Hill like we did last week, this coming week? That's definitely not a guarantee, and there are just a few ceilings here. Good matchups. I don't know how comfortable I feel with Tyler Higbee here at 10 over Taysom Hill, especially, which means also over Cole Kmet, Dawson Knox. Don't know how I feel about that right now. We'll see if that stays the same. And I do like Taysom Hill this week in the same tier, which basically means you could make an argument for any of these guys above one another. That's that. Then Greg Dulcich, just wanted to point out he did have a hamstring injury last week, so do be a little bit cautious with that. Have a backup plan if he is your guy. That's it, but it's a good matchup if he's going. And who knows, maybe that offense will get unleashed a little bit this week with no Nathaniel Hackett. Then on to Tyler Conklin, who I have 4 spots ahead of the ECR. I have him ranked 15th. The ECR on him is 19th, going up against Seattle. Really, really good matchup, and he has Mike White back. I don't need to say anything else about it. Like him this week. And then at Darren Waller, I have 6 spots behind the ECR. I have him ranked 16th, which is 6 spots behind 10th. which is where the ECR has him going up against San Francisco. Don't love that matchup, and frankly, Darren Waller hasn't been great when he has played this season overall, and so that is why he falls to the back of this tier with some more hopeful opportunities for a few other guys, or guys who have done it at the very least recently, like Higbee. Now let's move on to my third tier here, which begins with Juwan Johnson at tight end 17, followed by Daniel Bellinger, Gerald Everett, Noah Fant, Cade Otton, and Jordan Akins, wrapping that tier up at tight end 22. The only one that we have to talk about is Gerald Everett, who I have 5 spots behind at the ECR. I have him ranked 19th. The ECR on him is 14th, going up against the Los Angeles Rams, so it is a good matchup. However, I talked about it last week with Gerald Everett, some concerns I had with Donald Parham coming back in combination with the full complement of wide receivers also finally back and healthy, really taking the edge off of Gerald Everett, but don't expect a goose egg either. There's still a lot of potential there. They still like those. It's not some aggressive team. They definitely feed their tight ends. Even in previous years they did. So there's still some hope for Gerald Everett if you are having to rely on him. And then let's get on to this fourth tier here, starting off with Austin Hooper at tight end 23, followed by Logan Thomas, Robert Tonyan, and Trey McBride, wrapping that up at tight end. It'll be 26 probably. I am currently not ranking Hunter Henry, as you can see here, 25 and a half. Just wanted him to not have any kind of impact on these. But yeah, if he's playing, I'll have him ranked probably right about 20 ahead of Noah Fant going up against Miami. It's a good matchup. But other than that, if he's not playing this week, obviously it won't matter. And there is just Austin Hooper here to talk about. I'm ranked 23rd. I might move him back. This is in part due to my projections. Going up against Dallas is not a good matchup. I don't have an excellent argument for him other than he has a decent baseline, and he did catch a few targets from Malik last week. I'm not too excited about him. There's just some other, I would be more excited to roll out Trey McBride, but he might be riskier. We'll see. There might be some jumbling up around here. And then to wrap this up, Chigoziem Okonkwo at tight end 28 and Jelani Woods at tight end 29. And Chig, I have 6 spots behind the ECR. Between him and Austin Hooper is the one who's going to be on the field more and probably get more targets, have definitely more opportunities now that Treylon Burks is back. And so, just with my concerns about Austin Hooper, I just don't trust Chig at all with the quarterback situation there. Hardly trust Austin Hooper. Hopefully you're not having to rely on any of these guys. Take a shot at Jordan Akins in an excellent matchup. He should be available if you are down this far on the waiver wires. So that is it for the tight ends. I will have the quarterbacks up on the website, www.theffforge.com. All of my rankings go up there. All of my projections go up there. There are projections for floors, projections for ceilings if you're looking for some sort of safety net, or if you're going up against the number 1 team and you're like the 6th seed and you're definitely overmatched, you can shoot for the moon with some guys based on those ceilings. And then I do have an expected range, which is just like a normal ranking projected number, except it is a range. And that is it for the tight ends. Let's wrap this up. Like I said, quarterback, wide receiver, running back videos all will be available coming out tomorrow through maybe Thursday morning. Thank you very much. Peace out.